was really wowed by the fact that they could transform it into such modern and beautiful homes. So I think that was what really inspired us to build our home to be something that has heritage yet modern. We wanted something very different. I didn't want to walk into the house and it is a living room with a sofa and everything. So we chose the table to anchor the space, and because a shop house is usually very long, so we wanted that table to show the depth of the space.
一踏入这间百年老屋，一张3米长、量身定制的美国橡木餐桌就马上映入眼帘。
We host a lot, so we have friends and family coming by all the time. And we really wanted a space that was conducive to organize such dinners and events.
从事信息技术行销的王涵妮，在2018年与丈夫计划生育，因此两人开始物色一间更大的房子。
We used to live around Joo Chiat area, so we used to walk along the shop houses. We would peep into people's homes. We thought that it would be nice living in a place with heritage, so we started looking from there. Hey, open your mouth. Show mommy the fish. Where's the baby fish?
这间百年老屋曾经是外籍劳工的宿舍，王涵妮一开始并没有对它一见钟情。
When I first visited the house, I really couldn't imagine living in it. If you went into it, you probably think it looks haunted, and there were termites, everything was falling apart.
但是拥有一间历史悠久的住宅一直是王涵妮的梦想。最终因为看上房子的独特格局，在2018年，王涵妮以约新币300万元的价格把它买下。
There were a lot of shop houses that we visited before that were very narrow, so they didn't have the kind of width that we have in our current place. And also some shop houses didn't have very high ceilings, so this really fulfilled what we wanted, not just on the first floor, but on the second and third levels as well.
这栋面积约3500平方英尺的老屋在整修后，弥漫着明亮惬意的温馨感。王涵妮在室内设计上结合了大量的木元素和中性色调，使室内空间看起来简洁明亮，突出了房子的日式北欧风格特征。
The shop house is very long, it's very deep, so we made sure that we stayed clear of dark colors and black, including like the lights, the switches, so that the house would look very bright and cheery.
传统电屋的正面狭小，室内幽暗，只有屋子的前和后方拥有窗户，所以王涵妮也在房子的中央设置了一个内部庭院，为幽暗的室内空间增添了自然光和新鲜空气。
So that really enhanced a lot of light coming in, and it really changed the look of the house. Also, we wanted an element of nature in the house, so I made it a point to have a tree that is tall enough, so once you enter the house, you'll be able to see it. 电屋的外墙展示了多样且不拘一格的彩饰，如彩色玻璃、屋檐、装饰线条等等。而王涵妮在修复受保留电屋时，必须遵守严谨的修复准则，其中之一就是必须保留建筑的原貌。 We like that we are not able to change the outsides of the house actually. It retains the pre-war vibe that you don't see along this neighborhood, because there are only 4 of such houses on my stretch, and we really like that surprise element when people come in and they realize that it doesn't look that old after all. 花费超过新币50万元和将近3年的时间改造，王涵妮打造了理想的家居，与丈夫、儿子、帮佣和2只猫咪一起生活。
C for cat. That's right. How you clap for yourself? The ample space in this shophouse has allowed all of us to all have our own spaces. But on every floor, we still have a communal area where we can have some family time together and do activities. We created this area with a pantry as well and a wine fridge so that we can host our guests easily. The design brief for the house was very simple. We wanted a lot of storage because I'm a hoarder, but you can't tell. It's very important to hide away all my things. So it's concealed by cabinets. And we wanted it to be cat-friendly and as child-friendly as possible.
在打造现代家居之际，王涵妮也希望保留传统电屋的色彩。因此，她在房子的设计上坚持注入传统电屋的元素。
My impression of conservation houses is that they always have a very narrow spiral staircase somewhere in the house. This house has been renovated before by the previous owners, so they removed my spiral staircase, and when we went through the renovations, we ensured that we would include a spiral staircase in our house, and what better place to put it than the staircase that leads to our bedroom.
主人房占据了房子的顶层，房间一角的独立式浴缸，以及透过玻璃窗和天窗渗入房内的自然光线，为整个空间增添了优雅的独特氛围。
So for my bedroom, I think the pitched roof and the double volume ceiling really gives this space a vibe that, I've never ever lived in a bedroom that looks like this before. Living in this neighborhood is very exciting because it is known to be the underbelly of the city. There's always a lot going on. There's a lot of good food around. This area is famous for having 24-hour food joints all over, so you'll never ever be hungry.
100年的老店屋位于牙龙的正中心，而王涵妮希望这间历史悠久的老屋能够成为他们家庭中代代相传的好房子。
There's just a lot of charm living in a heritage like conservation house. It gives a very different feel that I think we are unable to get from like a condo or even a landed home. So this is what we really enjoy, and I hope that this will also be the same case for our generations to come.